everybody, welcome back to our Hunter series. Game number 9, about to start here, and it is against a rogue. Now I feel that hunters are slightly favored against rogues because as a rogue you do use your face quite a bit in the beginning of the game to get an advantage on the board, and a hunter usually does not mind that damage. Now you could also say that the rogue is also, it can be a tough matchup because of backstab. That's one of the cards that really hurts your early game pressure. It's 0 mana, deal 2 damage. So if a backstab ends up connecting on, say, one of our 3/2s, a King's Alec, it's going to be quite problematic. Now, as for this mulligan, let's talk about it for a second, because you've seen us hard mulligan for 1-drops. But as we are on the coin, a 1-drop is not that necessary. So here I would just keep the Fairy Dragon and the Scarlet Crusader, because then in worst case scenario, you'll have a 2-drop and a 3-drop. And we are hard mulliganing here for either another 2-drop or a 1-drop. So that turn 1, you can either coin a 2-drop or play a 1-drop. We do keep the Crusader because she is a premium 3-drop and we already have a 2-drop. If I did not have the Fairy Dragon, I would mulligan the Crusader. If I did not have coin, I would also mulligan the Crusader to look for a 1-drop. But there we go. And we did hit our Worgen, so we're going to start off with the Worgen to give our opponent less chance to interact with our cards. Now, coining out a Fairy Dragon wouldn't be wrong here, because you have Fairy Dragon into Flame Juggler, into Scarlet or Shadowed Sun, but I just like the flexibility that we have by playing Worgen here. You have the flexibility to either coin a Scarlet Crusader or coin a Shadowed Sun Cleric, or play a Fairy Dragon on curve, or play a Flame Juggler on curve. So I feel like the Worgen just leaves us with most flexibility and less chance for him to interact with it. So he's going to choose to hero power quite early. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so 3 plays here. Well, I mean, there's more than 3 plays. There's so many plays here. I feel like the only thing that you can't do is play Flame Juggler. So once again, let's just go over all of them and see why I go with what I go, right? Play number 1. Most straightforward play is play Fairy Dragon, pass. Don't hit him in the face because of the dagger. Play number 2. Coin out the Shadowed Sun Cleric, hit him in the face for 3 and say like, nah, you can't dagger me. I just buffed up my Worgen. But that play gets absolutely destroyed by backstab and Auto Barber. He would backstab one, play Auto Barber, kill another one. He suddenly has board and we're not getting it back. Play number 3, coin out the Scarlet and pass. Play number 4, coin out Animal Companion and go from there. I think here the Scarlet is perfect because the Scarlet Crusader kind of invites him to use his face onto the shield, and then turn 3 you can coin out your Shadowed Sun Cleric to buff it up so he can't dagger it down anymore. So it makes him take a lot of face damage, and it's kind of a scumbag play. Now the other thing is that should your Shadowed Sun not be that good, you can still opt to coin out the Animal Companion on turn 3. So I mean, sorry, you can still play the regular Animal Companion on turn 3. So it's really no, I think this is the play with the least amount of risk attached to it. So as you see, like, there goes a lot of thought in what move we're going to make, and I invite you guys to take the same amount of time for your plays. Looks like he has a Silent Knight. He will use his face into the shield, but he does have a backstab to back it up. So there we go. Backstab, this is what I said. If they have a backstab, it's always going to be a bit more difficult in the early game. Alrighty. So a couple options here. We can use Shadowed Sun Cleric, or we can use Animal Companion. Could also have Flame Juggler to hope to hit it, but I mean, it's a bit RNG. Oh, I like it. You know, I froze it at the moment that we don't see the Animal Companion. It's just a giant blue ball. Alright, so if we Animal Companion here and we hit a Huffer, it's obviously bad. But I mean, if you Shadowed Sun Cleric, it's always bad because the Silent Knight just trades in for free. So I feel like Silent Knight really good. I feel like we just got lucky with Misha. And here we're going to reveal our Worgen to deal 2 face damage because of the taunt. But in hindsight, I don't really agree with it. this was a play that was made kind of on a whim. You're like, we have a taunt, we can go face, it's fine. But I mean, there's so many things. Betrayal, one of them. Let's say he had a sap on Amisha, I could have just used his face into the Worgen. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. But he hits, he redaggers, and in the end, it's not that bad for us, right? It's not like we're really far behind. Because he used his hero power twice in the first 4 turns. We can just play the Yeti or the Snapjaw and be done with it. I prefer the Snapjaw because the Snapjaw deals with the Silent Knight all the same. People can probably take out the Yeti after it kills the Silent Knight, and people probably can't kill the Snapjaw after it kills the Silent Knight. So that's my reasoning for going with the Snapjaw here. Now, I do acknowledge that there is one big risk attached to this play. It's that if our opponent has a Stampeding Kodo, we are in trouble. That's for sure. Looks like he has a Hungry Dragon tournament attendee. Pretty good. He has to take another 2 phase. So right now, I feel the game. I'm quite comfortable right now. I don't really see it being too problematic. Okay, so the first play that comes to mind here is to use our Snapjaw in the 2/2 and then play the Flame Juggler. Hope to hit the 2-on-1 and then probably just develop Shadowed Sun, buffing up the Snapjaw so that the Hungry Dragon can't kill the Snapjaw. Nice, RNG worked out, that's always good. Notice the positioning here. The Shadowed Sun Cleric should go on the very far right. That way the lowest damage minion is in the middle for Betrayal. It's a pretty big deal against rogues. He did already whip out 1 Betrayal, but he could have another one. And the reason why we buff the Snapjaw here is that if he uses the Drake, he also has to use his face into the Snapjaw. That doesn't only make him take 3 more damage, it also prevents him to use his potential Auto Barber, Buccaneer, Deadly Poison. All these weapon buffs are now kind of disabled because he only needs 1 damage. So once again, there goes a lot of thought into these moves and like how we can make it as annoying as possible for our opponent. So far, so good. And there we go. It's just going to summon some dudes and redagger. So far, this guy has had fairly slow turns. Lots of redaggering happening. Usually you don't want to dagger that much. Like three hero powers in the first 6 turns is not ideal. Okay, so here you could just go full face, but I think that is silly. Right now we are pressuring him quite a bit, but it's still a rogue. You don't want to leave yourself open to get super far behind on the board. So the Shadowed Sun should always kill the Hungry Dragon, and then I would develop the Mechanical Yeti and the Amani Berserker. But you could say, okay, so then the Flame Juggler kills the 2-1 or the 1-1. I'm not a huge fan of that because if you kill the 2-1, he will just dagger it. If you kill the 1-1, he will just use the 2-1. So I feel like you just miss out on 2 phase. Also, once again, notice the positioning. It's very important that the Flame Juggler goes in the middle. Otherwise, our opponent could just use his hero power into the Amani, let the Amani get enraged, then use Betrayal on the Amani. The Amani one-shots both minions, and then the 2-1 finishes off the Amani. And our opponent would still have 5 mana to work with. So very important that you don't put Amani Berserkers in the middle versus rogues, because a smart rogue will enrage your Amani and then make use of that. There we go. As predicted, our opponent takes out one of our 2/3s. He does use Sprint on turn 7. Not ideal. Yeah, he's got a lot of cards, but he doesn't have a lot of life points, and he doesn't have a lot of minions on the board. And with not a lot, I mean none whatsoever. So lots of damage coming through here. We're going to connect for 6 at minimum. Probably another hero power as well. Put him down to 8. And then we place the Cobra to play around, say, a Sunwalker. Now, once again, this Cobra does go on an edge. You do not want to have a Cobra in the middle, because if a Cobra gets betrayed, it will just destroy both minions that it damages, guys. So, very important. Keep your Cobras on the edge versus a Rogue. Do not put them in the middle. Okay, so Barber, eviscerate one guy, eviscerate the other guy. So, quality deck on this Rogue. But as we did put a lot of pressure down earlier versus our opponent, we just have lethal now with Yeti and hero power. So once again, little decisions here and there, like with the buffing of the Snapjaw, you know, like forcing a little bit of more face damage means that even though our opponent had the card advantage, we didn't give him enough time to use the card advantage. And that's kind of where you want to be as a hunter. At the end of the game, you want to make sure that you didn't give your opponent enough time to use his card advantage. Because as a hunter, you're probably not going to build up card advantage, but you will have a board lead up to some degree, and you will usually have a higher life total than them. So you want to put yourself, you want to maneuver yourself into a position where they're just barely short of using that card advantage. You always want to give people the idea like, you're fine, man, you're fine, don't worry about it, and suddenly, boom, shakalaka, they're dead, and they can't use their card advantage. All right, guys, once again, very fun making this series for you. This was game number 9. Tomorrow we hop into game number 10, so hope you all are still excited for that. And yeah, as always, guys, I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for watching.